Just when you thought British politics couldn't possibly get any more chaotic in 2025, the country wakes up to the safeguarding minister comparing a political opponent to one of the most infamous pedophiles in UK history. Yes, you heard that correctly. Instead of answering serious questions about the Online Safety Act, Jess Phillips has decided that the best way to defend government policy is to double down on a comparison between Nigel Farage and Jimmy Savile. A move that has shocked even hardened Westminster commentators and reignited a furious national debate about free speech, political decency, and the protection of women and children. The controversy began when Peter Kyle, the technology secretary, responded to Nigel Farage's criticism of the Online Safety Act by suggesting that opposing the bill is the same as siding with modern-day Jimmy Saviles. To many, that was an outrageous leap. But what made the situation explode was Phillips' decision not only to defend Kyle's remarks, but to publish an article in the Times insisting the comparison was absolutely justified, even claiming that anyone who finds it offensive simply hasn't been paying attention. That statement alone has triggered immediate backlash across the political spectrum. Critics say it's an example of the worst kind of gutter politics, using the tragedy of child abuse to shut down debate about new laws, which could severely restrict freedom of expression online, and it has opened the door perfectly for Reform UK. Layla Cunningham, fast becoming one of the party's most recognizable figures, has launched a direct public challenge, calling on Phillips to join her in a live debate about women's safety. And she isn't pulling her punches. Her argument is brutally simple. How can Jess Phillips claim to be a champion of women and children when she opposed a national inquiry into grooming gangs, then delayed the publication of the report, and is now weaponizing Jimmy Savile to silence critics of online censorship? Cunningham has pointed out that real safety comes from arresting and prosecuting dangerous offenders, not from restricting what ordinary people can say on social media. And that challenge has now put Phillips in an impossible position. If she accepts, she'll have to answer questions about her record on grooming gangs, live unfiltered and without the protection of party spin doctors. And if she refuses, she risks proving Reform UK's point that Labour ministers are running away from proper scrutiny, especially when it comes to the very issues they're paid to deal with. Let's not forget, this isn't the first time Labour has been accused of double standards on public protection. Since coming into government last year, more than 4,000 prisoners have been released early to ease overcrowding, including offenders with previous violent or sexual convictions. All while ministers insist that the best way to make women feel safer is by tightening laws on online speech. If that sounds backwards to you, you're not alone. And that's why the Savile comparison has proved so explosive. Even Elon Musk, never shy of jumping into a row, has waded in, publicly condemning Phillips's use of the Savile analogy and warning that governments will always use child safety as an excuse for broad censorship powers if the public isn't paying attention. His intervention has turned a domestic dispute into a global talking point, with commentators in Europe and the US asking why a British safeguarding minister is using the language of defamation instead of evidence-based policy. Meanwhile, Reform UK is using the row as a springboard for its new strategy of direct confrontation politics. Instead of relying on press releases and studio interviews, they're openly challenging Labour ministers to face-to-face debates in public venues. From working men's clubs in the Red Wall to town halls in marginal constituencies. So far, every time a minister refuses, Reform simply presents the refusal as evidence that the political establishment is afraid of being held accountable by ordinary people. The real question now is, will Jess Phillips step up and defend her position, or will she retreat and allow her critics to frame her as the minister who refused to investigate grooming gangs and then tried to silence her opponents by comparing them to pedophiles? Let us know in the comments. Should Phillips accept Cunningham's debate challenge, yes or no? And do you believe the government is genuinely protecting children with the Online Safety Act, or simply looking for new ways to control what people are allowed to say? Oh, and before we move on, if you want honest coverage of British politics without the government spin, make sure you subscribe to England Now 7 right now, because this story is still developing, and the next 48 hours could change everything. Sources: The Times, London, article by Jess Phillips, published 18th of January 2025, Telegraph interview with Peter Kyle, 14th of January 2025. GB News report on National Grooming Inquiry, Shakud, 10th January 2025. Elon Musk comments on X, posted 19th January 2025. Stay tuned. This isn't just political theater. It's a test of whether truth and accountability still have a place in modern British democracy.